Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is Wine Library TV. So, big news in the wine world today. Parker's scores came out on 2005 Bordeaux. A lot of upgrades. Some wine stayed stable. A couple went down, actually. But overall, a lot of juice into the 05s. I mean, the website is exploding. You know, it's finally been validated how hot the vintage is, even though it's just the second set of scores next year this time. We'll get the final bottle ratings, but obviously there's a lot of hype going on. It's been really cool all day, just fielding phone calls and emails. It's been complete insanity, and I really hope that you've jumped on your 05s because a lot have been selling out, and prices are going up, and it's gotten real scary, actually. And so obviously all that Bordeaux action has gotten me very focused on Bordeaux, and we're going to go right back to the old world again, and we're going to do 4 Bordeauxs that have been in the shop, and I just wanted to try them, and I think Bordeaux is kind of fun right now because there's so much going on, and the pricing is getting bazonkers. So, let's get right into it today. I've had a long day, I got a lot going on, so we're going to pound through these wines. Chateau La Cuspade, 2003, Saint Emilion, Grand Cru, $30 US, 91 points, Wine Spectator. It's a predominantly Merlot wine, and let's give this a whirl. Again, 03 was very hot vintage, and I mean hot as in sales, but also hot as in weather. If you might remember, in Europe, everybody was sweating profusely out there. You remember all those 100-degree, and you know, not a lot of air conditioning in Europe. Real big problem for us Americans that need to be cozy and cool. So, really nice color actually in this wine. Because of the heat, you get very extracted wines. I call the 2003 vintage in Bordeaux the kangaroo vintage because there's so much heat. It really reminds me of some the Australian wines, so it's really quite interesting. Such a different vintage in Bordeaux than maybe any other year, or definitely in the modern era. Wow, really nice nose. Really focused blackberry flavor coming through. Very nice dark chocolate coming through on the nose as well. Very syrupy. Very intense. Really can really get it on the nose. Nice. This is a nice wine. Very well-rounded, very huge palate grip, completely, just attacks your entire flavor profile. A lot of structure, very smooth, very lush. I agree with Spectator, they nailed it. I'm going to go 91 points in this wine, and for 30 bones in Bordeaux, that's a pretty big steal considering the Bordeaux prices. This is extremely good. It's definitely very lively and new worldly, even though it's in its own world structure. Really good. A lot better than I thought. This is good. I can see a lot of people liking this. This is one where we can all go in harmony. The old world and the new world can join hands and be friends forever. It's a good wine. It's a nice start. That put me in a nice mood right off the bat. Okay. Chateau Ferrier, 2001 Margaux. You may recall we did the 95 on Wine Library TV not too long ago. This is the 2001 version, $35 US. And this is also rated 91 points from the Wine Spectator. A little bit older vintage than the Cuspade. This has got some Cabernet Cab Franc blend. This is quite interesting. Let's give this a whirl. Really nice dark color. Also, I'm going to take a quick little moment, go a little personal on you guys. Big shout out to my mom, Tamara Vaynerchuk. Classic Russian name, Tamara. I'm not going to cry in front of you, but basically my entire life and so much, and Dad, don't get upset. I know how you get about this, but, you know, my mom is a huge factor. She's big time. You know, I have the best mother in the world. I know we all think that, but I'm telling you, she's big time. She's just laid such an amazing foundation for me, and so much of who I am and what I am as a person. You know, as much success as I've had and all these other things, I'm really most excited internally about opening doors for people and just being the dude that I am. And so much of that is instilled at an early age. Oh, Mott's crying. And so I would be remiss not to mention a birthday to my favorite girl, my mom. And so I love you. Anyway, let's give this a whirl. And this smells stinky, so that's good. Right after mom, you go right into stinky. It's pretty cool. This is classic Bordeaux, classic Bordeaux on the nose. And what I mean by that is that you just get a little bit of that green pepper, you get the Cabernet aspect. You can just really tell that it's Bordeaux. It's got that obvious, the terroir of what Bordeaux is coming through on the nose. I like to think of it as, a little bit of a dirt bomb, a little bit of broccoli. But it's nice. It's very clean and smooth on the nose, and so it's nice. It's polished. Wow. Wow. It's really polished. Really fundamental, classic leather meets almost like shoe polish. Very dark. Think of a dark thing. Think of a cave. Think of bats. But also, you're walking into the cave of bats, and you've got a nice bushel of fresh fruit and a bar of chocolate, and you're walking through, the bats run into you, and it all just goes into your palate as you tipped over. That's what this tastes like. It's extremely well made, very well structured, and the three-course meal, as I call it, the bouquet, the mid-palate, and the finish are in perfect harmony, like a perfect well-made play on Broadway. Really, really, really impressed with this effort. To me, this is a 91 plus. It's not as lively as La Cuspat. This is a little bit more traditional, old world, but this is the kind of wine that you can have with any meal if you're a serious red wine drinker. And to put this up against California Cabernet at this price range, there's about 90% of the California Cabernets that don't hold a candle to this wine. It's got the structure, the elegance, and the purity of fruit that is so beautiful. Not over oaked, not too over the top. Just elegance and passion, and perfectly to the point. Passion and to the point. I like that. 91 plus in this bad boy. 35 bones in this wine market into the U.S. I think that's a very fair buy. It's a little bit aged too. Most of you are drinking wine's way too young. This at least is a 2001. This is the kind of wine you want to seek out if you want to get a little more serious. Kudos. That's good. That's such a nice sour cherry flavor. All right, we're rocking. Let's keep it going, Chateau Martinez. 2000, the big vintage besides 2005 in the last decade. The 2000 Martinez looks like a steal. It's 91 spectator, 27 US dollars. So this could really get us going. We've been on a good roll of 91 pointers here. And let's see what the Martinez does. Again, 2000 vintage. Everything's pointing. I'm excited. Really nice and dark. This is the kind of wine on paper that you want to buy. Great score, great vintage, older. You can actually drink it. 27 bones. Let's give it a whirl. All right, this has a really intriguing kind of it has almost like a soapy Mr. Bubbles aspect on it. Meets kind of like asparagus. So I'm going to go with, your mom made you Mr. Bubbles bath, because she wants you to get clean because you're stinky because you never do it. And you're always outside playing basketball and baseball and football. 3-sport star. And you decided to dump 40 pieces of fresh baked white asparagus. That's the key here. This is white asparagus. Have you ever had white asparagus? That's where it's at. Anyway, that's what this smells like. Mr. Bubbles with lots of white asparagus. And knowing me, I would turn it into a fort, bring a couple G.I. Joes, 1 or 2 Transformers, Hulk Hogan, and Nikolai Volkov, and it'd be the perfect evening in the bath. So let's give this a whirl. We tried for a perfect day for Mom, but it didn't work out. This wine is underwhelming. Extremely light. I'm really shocked by This is doing a very serious Casper the Friendly Ghost on my palate. And what I mean by that is the flavors are just disappearing. I mean, they are gone. I'm basically not tasting anything at this point except residual liquid in my mouth. I recognize this as liquid, but I don't understand the flavor profile. Really quite shocking. Wow. I'm going to score this wine 83 points. I am finding this to be an absolutely unacceptable effort. The nose is kind of intriguing. There's a good shot of good flavor. I mean, if it could sustain the flavor that I taste when I first taste this wine for more than 33 hundredths of a second, we might have something here. But this wine is absolutely disappearing. More than any wine has ever on Wine Library TV, and that's saying a whole lot, because some don't have long finishes at all, but I'm really not getting much at all. It's also extremely light and tastes very thin. It doesn't have any of the viscous or the structure or anything really. Whew, God, I wouldn't pay more than $10 for this wine. And so 83 points on this. This is a huge pass and a massive disappointment. On paper, this would have been the best wine of the bunch, but considering the vintage too. That stunk. That was weird. All right. Let's move on. Half bottles are fun. Half bottles are great, obviously, for during the week if you can't finish a whole bottle. Plus, they're just cute. I mean, come on, give it to them. It's a cute little thing. This is the 2000 Chateau Martinez, and this is a very intriguing little winery. This is 90 points Robert Parker. It's a Saint Emilion Grand Cru. $34 US for a half bottle. So it's about a $70 bottle of wine in the 750 size. Again, 2000 vintage. I don't want to get too crazy because it didn't work out a few minutes ago, but 2000 vintage is big time, and this is a tremendous producer. La Gaffier is a really well-respected Saint Emilion producer. It is Premier Cru Class A, which is a huge status in Saint Emilion, and let's give it a whirl. Really nice color. This is a predominantly Merlot-based wine. Oof, very interesting. Really nice nose. There's just something about old world wines. I mean, I love new world wines. As you know, I like them all. I'm a people lover. I'm a wine lover. I'm not a guy that's going to draw a line in the sand. And if you are, you're bad. You're not smart about things. You should always be open-minded, not only about wine, but about life. Just don't judge books by their covers. Anything can happen, and that's what happens with wine. Look, this is a 2000 with a 91-point spectator rating under $30. You thought it was going to be the savior of the world, and instead it's the junk of the heap of the whole pile. It's just not good. We should all be very open-minded with wine, but there is something, I've got to say it, about the bouquet of an old world wine. It's just the romance of the dirtiness and the greenness, which sounds so awful to so many people that are just getting into wine, or if you're just getting into wine, but I promise you, as you continue to drink wine over the coming years, you're going to find something special about this old world aspect. It's unbelievable. Almost every palate I know has gravitated towards it over the long haul, because it's almost like eating too much candy. And as you get older, you just notice you don't eat as much candy as you did when you were young, and you gravitate towards nice steaks and things of that nature. And that's kind of how that was a good analogy. I think people are gonna like that. I know you do. So that's kind of see, and there is that special little twinkle. As much as I love Twizzlers and Skittles, there's something about dirty grasshoppers that you step on and you feel bad. You're like, oh my God, I killed a grasshopper, and then you're like, you kind of look around, you just kind of bite it, you taste it, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. That's the really interesting little thing about old world wines. Dead grasshoppers. Let's give this a whirl. Creamy pie. Really elegant. Really tastes like the filling in a Hostess cherry pie. You get the Hostess cherry pie. You can open them. Do you know that? You can open them. And there's a little piece of cherry. Who knows if they're really cherry? But if you get the filling around it, and just like that, that's what this tastes like. That seamless, kind of artificial, but not fake, but beautiful, just like clean cherry syrup stuff, or whatever they call it. And really, Hostess was not the right way to go, because that's a little more artificial. Let's go with the pie that your grandma makes. It's everything around the actual cherries. It's just that, what do they call that? The gelatin? I don't even know. But that's what this tastes like. It's got tremendous body, by far the biggest structured wine of the bunch, and definitely an attack on your mouthfeel. Where the Martinez disappeared, this wine is not quitting. I'm like, I'm enough already. I'm trying to get it off my palate. It is still bringing thunder on the palate. I really like this wine. It's very well structured. However, I will say that the flavor is one-dimensional. It's really got sour cherry and a little chocolate, and that's it. Not that many other exotic flavors bouncing around, which makes me disappointed, because I'd like to taste some different things once in a while. So what it does well, but I definitely feel that it's really, I wouldn't say it's a one-trick pony, but it's definitely not the most complex movie of all time or book. It's just doing its one duty well. It's like a defenseman that can't score. That's how I kind of see this wine. And for that reason, I will also score this wine 91 points. I think it's well made, very well structured, and delicious. But if I'm going to equate it to a $70 bottle of $7.50, I'm going to say it's overpriced, and I would give a pass overall. Whereas these two wines, the Ferrier and the La Cuspade, are absolutely killing it. Both tremendous values in today's wine world market. So, what else? I have some big news coming up. That's all I'm talking about. Big news coming for all the Vayniac nations, all the Vayner nation, the whole Vayniac world. I got some big news. You're going to be pumped. And now the question of the day. Good question, I think. Who's your favorite person to drink wine with? Not your favorite person in the world, but your favorite person to drink wine with. Because you and a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world.